the Off the Road Again podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Ross.
And I'm Vaugh Gittin Jr., world champion drifter, off-road champion, and most importantly, professional fun haver. Oh, yeah, and founder of RTR Vehicles.
Freaking I was going to say, RTR's got to be in there somewhere. So you don't get to be the head of a company and then not mention the company. So sweet. This is our podcast about anything and everything off-road. As always, it's the only way we can do the show. We're still socially distant. We did it before it was mandated or cool. I'm in Kansas City, Ross is in Connecticut, and Vaughn's in
Concord, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte.
That's what I was going to guess. I would have been 2 for 2, Ross, on guessing where guests were going to be from.
Yeah, you're on it, bro. You're on
batting
it.
100. There you go.
Literally batting 100 for episode 100. And I didn't flub the intro. Last show, I completely messed up saying welcome to the show. And it was like the first time in 90 plus shows. Yeah. Anyway.
99. Yeah.
So,
here we are, episode 100. Awesome.
Vaughn, where would you like to start? We could start talking about what you guys had at SEMA. We can go to the Faroe Islands, which I'm incredibly curious about all of that. Mm-hmm. Or we can go to Bronco R race trucks.
Man, you just surprised me, man. I'm here to party and talk about cool stuff. That's what we do.
SEMA was most recent on the list. So you guys had a vehicle there, right?
Yeah, we actually, sounds crazy to come out of my mouth, but we had 17 vehicles at SEMA. We just put a blog out. 17 vehicles. We had 6 rigs go out to SEMA. Like, I remember my first time ever even having a car at SEMA. And now we have 17. It's pretty absurd. But I think the one you're talking about, which was one of the most interesting, is the Bronco Fun Runner. I would imagine
that's exactly it.
That is it. That was a show stealer.
I forgot to give Vaughn the heads up that I share my screen. So for the video version, I don't have to go back and edit.
Oh. Yeah, so, that one.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that is basically the Bronco Fun Runner. Bronco RTR Fun Runner. So this is a collaboration between my company, RTR Vehicles, and my partnership with Loren Healy, my Fun Haver Off-Road teammate. We have a line of off-road parts that are coming to market under the Fun Haver brand. And, for those of you that don't know the two brands, the difference in the product lines are basically, RTR is very like OEM plus, right? Yeah. The more mild versus wild, right? Fit, finish, you don't have to cut things, everything bolts right up to factory locations. Proper materials, right? Our grill, use the same materials like a production grill, and very high-end aftermarket. And Fun Haver Off-Road, while it's still high-end and properly engineered, it's for a little bit more extreme and the wild, people that want just a bit more than maybe what RTR would offer. Both brands very capable, 2 very different stylistic approaches, but 2 brands I'm very happy and proud to be a part of and owner of. So what we did, so I'll let a little secret out. We haven't told many people this, but if you want to pull up, you could look up the Ford Ranger Fun Runner. And so basically that's a truck that we built along with our friend Ryan at Kibby Tech. And what we did was we took a Ranger before Bronco was out and we put a Bronco under it.
So sneaky.
We basically put Bronco suspension geometry under the Ranger. And we used a lot of like Ultra 4 drivetrain components. But what we were doing was learning. We were learning, how the IFS worked, with long travel, and really just getting ahead of, what we knew was coming in some effect. And Ford was obviously supportive and helped us get that geometry in, and it allowed us to get ahead and learn a lot of things. And so what we debuted, the Bronco RTR Fun Runner, is a package that we will be selling. You can buy it either in parts or complete vehicle will be available in the future. And this takes all those learnings. So basically what you see here is that front bumper is the Fun Haver Off-Road front bumper. The grill with the integrated lighting is RTR grill. The graphics are, the RTR production graphics that are a little bit more wild for this vehicle.
What is that a topo of?
That is topo of Johnson Valley, where we race King of the Hammers. Obviously, you guys know. I don't mean to speak obvious, but I don't know all your viewers.
No, you're good. You can explain it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that obviously also where Bronco was born and bred. It's where we've done a lot of our development for our products. So that area is actually right like at that mountain range. Call them mountains. I don't know if they're necessarily mountains, but that range that's like right there where Backdoor is in Hammertown and the qualifying course.
Famous climb area.
Yeah, exactly. And so this truck is obviously a two-door. It's got the 2.3. We've got the Fun Haver Off-Road long travel suspension in the front with a Dana 44 front drive unit in it. Obviously extended, up axles, stronger axles. We've got Fox, the Performance Elite 2.5-inch dampers all the way around. RTR rock rails. There's 4 Recaro Sportster ORV seats, which Loren and I have been developing safer off-road seats with Recaro for a number of years. And now they're out on the market, both seats for this type of just enthusiast vehicle and then game-changing racing seats. And if you guys want to get into that a little more, feel free to ask. In the rear is a upgraded Dana 60. And that is also what gets us the width. So we're plus 3 inches on each side on the Fun Runner. We've got, don't quote me, but right around 12 inches of travel in the front and right around 14-ish in the rear. And in the back, the rear of it, we've got a really cool modular accessory mount system, RTR product that basically has a jerry can with a really cool like quick release that we developed, and just a way for you to mount your gear to the rear tailgate. Also allows you to mount larger tires and handle the weight. It's a full like tubular mount system. Yeah, and billet hinges, really, really nice setup there. High lift jack. It's also got Project X lighting. Project X is who we've been working with for a number of years, developing out not only cool lights, but a connected lighting system, which is really, really rad. They have rock lights that actually have cameras on them. They're all connected via your phone or a tablet. So they're like,
that's insane.
And so, so yeah, like we debuted that. It was and obviously has a wide body, right? You look at it, and the wide body is inspired by our 4400 race truck. So took some of that, the front look and the rear with like the flat cutoff, just really, really aggressive. And that's the RTR light bar with the Project X lights on it. And so, just debuted a lot of our new products and a complete vehicle. And of course, how could I forget our RTR beadlocks? Those are Tech 6 forged beadlocks, and then 37-inch Nitto trail grapplers on there.
Thought they were 37s. That's a lot of tire. I guess that's where the 44 and 60 come in.
Right. Yep. So, exactly. Yep. And I believe that under normal driving, the production units, drive units or differentials will handle 37s. But I think once you start beating on them pretty bad, they're just, Ford didn't build them for that. They built them for 35. So.
Right. And you want them to hold up. You don't want somebody to come back and say, like, what the hell, I bought this package. It's not taking the abuse.
Exactly. But, and, that's what we do at RTR. Like we design and engineer complete vehicles. We sell parts, but usually our parts are off of the vehicle, and we design everything to work together so that you get a well-mannered vehicle on the street and very capable and fun off-road. And that's kind of just been the magic to what we do, whether it's a Mustang, an F-150, a Ranger, or a Bronco. RTR stands for ready to rock. And it's, to me, it's like something I've said since I was a teenager, like I'm ready for anything that comes my way. And that's what we like to to build in our vehicles. And so I'm actually taking that thing out to Johnson Valley very soon for some serious fun with Loren, doing some testing and such, and just, general fun having.
That's cool. Do you anticipate buyers to be more rock crawlers or more like Baja seekers, high speed runners?
Yeah, I mean, Bronco is more positioned as a Baja seeking, but it's very capable in the rocks.
IFS, yeah.
Bronco we've been involved in it, for a couple years now. We've done the durability loops with the Ford engineers, and this was in the Johnson Valley desert, but very capable in the rocks. And I think that the customers of this vehicle, or any of our vehicles, I think it'll be pretty diverse. And the good thing is they can do whatever they want, because unless you are in the desert, that's where you get just the Baja. But if you're running any kind of trails, you can have Baja, and then you come across rocks you have to cross, or creek crossing, so it's ready for whatever kind of fun, whatever puts a smile on your face. That's what it will do.
Can't argue that.
And jumping. And jumping is cool for everyone.
Most of the time. Yeah, most of the time. Oh man. No, that's awesome. How was SEMA for you guys? Did you find it to be kind of a different vibe this year?
Yeah, I felt the vibe was good. I will say it was crazy for me. Like, I was nonstop, and that's my normal SEMA experience. But like, if I'm stepping back, assessing the crowd, it was still busy. There was obviously, I think the biggest thing noticed was there was less vendors, but like the vibe was high, man. Everyone was so pumped to be back together, and it just felt really good. Like, it wasn't like this, like, bummer. It was like exciting and fun. And so I really enjoyed it. I love our industry, and I find the fun in anything, though. So I might be the wrong guy to ask.
Fair. Can't argue that.
This poor kid. Sorry, I gotta go back. The video starts with a kid who's just looks terrified for a second,
holding on for dear life. For the audio listeners,
you can see her be like, "Wow!"
Yeah. Oh. It was a ride along, and she was not ready for a drift car, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, well, that first kick sideways, and that thing is screaming loud. Oh, that's our Mach-E. That's the Mach-E 1400, Mustang Mach-E 1400 that we built with Ford Performance. And this is my teammate Chelsea and his girl. They were holding hands the whole time. I'm on his door, like inches from him, and look at her, just they're the best. Yeah, that's Chelsea and Chelsea. Believe it or not, he and his wife have the same name, and like birthday's right around the corner. It's ridiculous.
Really?
That's pretty funny.
The same person. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Dude,
so
great.
You mentioned taking the Fun Runner out to Johnson Valley. What do you do for pre-running for hammers? Do you take something like the Fun Runner, or do you actually just go out in the race rig and hope for the best on
yeah, so this year we have new trucks that we raced towards the end of last year. And it worked out well. I mean, I earned my first Ultra 4 championship in the 4400 class last year. So I'm really proud of that. And so this year, we're going to, for the first time, normally I show up in hammers on Monday. We pre-run leading up to the race and race. But this year we're going to go do a full like hammers run before hammers. Okay. We don't know the course, but we're going to go and put the durability on the trucks of running basically last year's course. And so that's a new process for us. So we'll take the trucks, we'll meet Fox there. We will do shock tuning in the desert initially. And then we will go and do a full durability loop in the desert, do a full desert lap or equivalent to, and then we'll go run the rocks, see if anything fails. By the way, I need to plug this. This is a program we're doing with Gear Wrench and Home Depot and Monster Energy, where if you go to Gear Wrench, there's a promo buying a Monster and some Gear Wrench toolkits that they have in Home Depot. And the winner is coming out to hang out with us at Hammers, which is awesome. Be absolutely epic. We got some great plans to give them some experiences, let them drive our Bronco, and just have some fun. So But anyway, back to Hammers, which we shot this at Hammers. And so we'll go do the full testing, and then hopefully nothing fails, but we actually hope that we learn something or break something that would have broke during the race that we can fix. So that doesn't happen in the race. We have very high ambition to go and win Hammers this year in both the 4,400 class and the 4,600 class. We have Broncos that we will be debuting along with Brad Lovell's 4,600 truck, and Bailey Cole and Jason Shearer also have a 4,600 truck. So
what's the difference between 44 and 46 for listeners who aren't as Hammers privy as we are?
Absolutely. Yeah. So 4,400 is the unlimited class, right? These are, 900 horsepower race engines, tube chassis trucks, just the ultimate of the ultimate in Ultra 4, right? And for those of you who don't know what Ultra 4 is some of the most challenging, arguably, King of the Hammers is arguably the most challenging off-road race in the world. But Ultra 4 is short course, desert, rocks, jumps, creek crossing, trees. Like, it's everything you would ever see in off-road racing, or that we're actually racing. And the 4,600 trucks, which you have up now, are actually full Broncos. We have Bronco geometry, right? IFS in the front, 4 links in the rear. But these are actual Broncos built off a Bronco chassis. These actually have a complete factory powertrain. So these are 2.7 EcoBoost with factory 10-speed transmission. The front drive unit is, all this is all production Ford parts.
Okay.
And basically what's been done to them is you put a cage in it, right? All your safety stuff. So Recaro racing seats, the ones I just told you guys, I call them the back savers because they've got game-changing technology in them that will absorb energy when you get big hits rather than stop you abruptly or reverb it back into your back.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I'll jump back into that if you're interested after explaining this.
I had back surgery, so I would like to go back into that.
And I'm over 40, so I'm also
double pun on back into that. So
and so it's got a fuel cell, right? Safety stuff is done, but beyond that, it's got Fox shocks all the way around. This has been developed by Ford Performance. So basically, Ford Performance said, okay, we're going to develop these trucks. We're going to partner with 3 teams we believe in to race them. So Ford has been developing these along with, all the teams have been giving input, and it's been a really, really cool collective program. And I cannot wait to get behind the wheel of it and do some testing.
That's reminiscent of what NASCAR used to be like decades ago, it has the same underpinnings and it's kind of the same vehicle, but you can change the safety stuff. So it's, better for running, but
it reminds me of,
sorry.
No, you go.
Chris, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, it reminds me when they went to the new F-150 and they had it as they took everything underneath it that was new with an EcoBoost and put the old body style on it and then ran it through Baja and then drove it back to Michigan. Like, they didn't put it on a trailer. Like, Ford's been known to be a little sneaky about that stuff before.
Yeah, and I love that they do that because this is how they make things better. So they invest in it. They have very passionate engineering team at Ford Performance, and they're just to me they're very fun to work with. Obviously, it's serious and it's business, and there is goals and learnings, but tech transfer is huge for them, and that's why at the end of the day, when you get a Raptor or you get a Bronco, you can go beat on it like you've seen me and Loren and everyone else do, and they work. Mm-hmm. And so, these trucks are great. They actually have portals on the front of them. So getting some great ground clearance from the.
It did look like there was kind of a lift there.
That's freaking cool. That's not what I was expecting, but that is freaking cool.
Yeah. Our new 4,400 trucks actually have portals on them too for Hammers. We actually have 2 setups on the front end on the 4,400 trucks. We basically have portals for Hammers and any big rock races. Mm-hmm. And then for short course and stuff, we have another setup that is no portals and everything's really low, and the center of gravity and all those benefits that you get from having a lower ride height. So
that's so interesting.
That modularity mindset, right? I told you RTR is ready to rock. Well, our Mustangs have adjustable suspension and sway bars, so you can put a drifting balance in it, a road race balance, or the safety, understeer balance that you would get from a factory car. And so kind of having that mindset is what we did there.
That taps into such a different side of things, because so much of the automotive scape and the hobby side of things is like you need a specific tool
did Russ just
for a job.
Okay, came back.
But I don't know, I've driven some pretty great autocross cars that were also great at going sideways,
Yeah, I mean, it's good balance, right? And those cars are really just how aggressive you being on the throttle, right? When you have that close to a neutral balance, you can decide if you want that under, if you want or that oversteer, you just want to stay,
Yep. So was Ford there taking notes and doing R&D with you with the Machi thing?
Oh yeah. So the Machi, that was a collaboration with Ford Performance. So I had a vision, like, I knew what Ford had coming in the pipeline. I know that I knew that electrification is a key to the future, and especially Ford's future. And it was time to show electric in like a fun, exciting, sexy way, instead of like a toaster. And
or just look at the phone fly off the dashboard. Like we've seen that.
Right. And so Jim Farley and I have been at Ford around the same time. We got there around the same time, and so he and I are close. And I talked to the Ford Performance team. I chatted with him. We kind of brainstormed like my original concept and evolved it. And basically, we wanted to build a electric demonstrator that could drift, it could grip, it can all-wheel drive, it can rear-wheel drive, it can front-wheel drive, and that is how the Mustang Machi 1400 was born. This thing is 7 motors, 3 in the front, 4 in the rear, infinitely tunable. It's got 2 different front end setups. One of them gives about 65 degrees of steering angle for when we're in rear wheel drive mode. And the other is much less for all wheel drive mode. It just basically maxes out just before the CVs max out in the front. It makes 2,600 pounds of downforce at 160 miles an hour. So all of that aero is real. Every hole in that vehicle you see is either for cooling or aero. Every splitter, every canard, the wing, everything is absolutely functional. And Ford Performance did all the aero study. My designer, Lindsay, one of my great friends, he worked very closely with Ford Performance to get our vision of design intent integrated with the function of their expertise in aero. And straight up, this thing has changed my life. Straight up, no BS. I drive a 1,200 horsepower nitrous fed 455 cubic inch Mustang and drifting, and there's nothing that compares to this vehicle.
That was my main question with this, is like, because you have experienced the pinnacle of what a drift car can be, and if this thing has changed your world, like that's kind of nuts.
It is. The first time, I'll never forget my first time feeling this car at full power. That is, it was my technical director and I. He's in the passenger seat, I'm in the driver's seat, and we just got done driving, and I'm like, yo, something's wrong. Like, there's no way this is, like, we just got done building this project under wraps for a year and a half, and it only feels like this. Like, something's not right. Like, this is not compute. And so, like, there was like a 1 where a 0 should have been, or something like that. And he's like, okay, you ready? And I'm like, yes. And I floored it, and this thing took off. And it was like so hard of a launch. It felt like a magnetic roller coaster, and it still does feel like that. But it was like, I stopped. Like, I launched and I stopped. I'm like, is that okay? Like,
did we break it?
Like that, like a lean motor feels really good till it doesn't.
Yeah.
So like that kind of kicked in for me. And we just started laughing like little kids, man. It was like, it was such an epic thing. Like, it's alive, like one of those moments. And everyone that I take a ride for in it they just lose their mind. They're like, okay, now I get it. And, power is one thing, right? I mean, obviously we know it has power, but the thing that people don't talk about enough with electric, this is not the lightest car. It's right around 5,000 pounds. So if you were to tell me normally, hey, you want to go throw this 5,000 pound car around a track or off edges of cliffs like we're doing here at Faroe Islands, I'd be like, not really. But because of the low center of gravity, because of where the batteries are located on electric vehicles, they move like go-karts. So yes, there is a mass. You are accelerating and stopping a mass. But the feeling that you get when you turn a vehicle like that is so different. It's like a go-kart. And to me, the driving experience of this is obnoxious, but even the production Mach-E, and especially the Mach-E GT, it's really cool. Like, it is really, really cool stuff. And I'm just excited for more people to kind of open their minds and experience it a bit.
They'll come around. I mean, we're still, tip of the iceberg here.
Well, and we've had Johnny Lieberman on the show a couple of times, and he talked about when they did that really long trip with the EVs,
the Rivians,
and he was on like the main southern leg, so like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. He kept talking about like, so they'd run into people at the store or whatever while they're charging. They'd be like, it's an EV, and he's like, yeah, but it's like 600 horsepower, and they'd be like, wait, what? Like, as soon as you start talking about these power numbers, people are on board. Before, it was just commuter cars. You get 30 miles to the gallon, or 30 miles of range.
Right.
30 miles. You're getting better.
30 miles to the gallon.
That's pretty good. I went with a fun
it's okay.
MPG number.
Yeah, and so we've done some really cool things with that car, right? That video you were just showing, like, that was Faroe Islands.
Right.
Are you guys familiar with what the Faroe Islands are?
So
only from this video.
I knew of them
this video.
Because aren't they like the closest thing to Iceland?
Yeah. If you look out on a map, I don't know the facts of it or not. I mean, obviously, if you look at all the continents, they look like they were all together. And I think there is a thing that they were all together. I don't know if that's a fact or if that's like,
Pangea. Yeah.
Like climate change. I don't know the fact of it or not, but I believe it was a part of Iceland, but it's 17 or 19 islands that make up the Faroe Islands. And it is a like standalone state, but is actually a part of Denmark, but it kind of operates on its own. And there is 70,000 sheep and 50,000 people on the island.
Okay.
And
that's the middle of nowhere.
It is really the middle of nowhere.
And it's one of the cleanest, like, I don't know the fact of it, but like the way they generate energy, like it's a very clean overall, the country is very clean. And, so we just put this video out. You can look it up by just looking up Free Rein Faroe Islands. And it's a 12-minute video. It's actually a movie. It's like a mini movie.
Dude, it's so much fun to watch.
Beautiful. It's spectacular.
Thank you. And what you see and the moments that you see the scenery and you're just like, what? Like, that's how I was every day I woke up. I'm just like, is this real? Like, is this real beauty like this?
Yeah.
And so it was a dream come true for me to be able to go there and let alone take this creation that we have and just have free reign of the country effectively. So we had to ferry from island to island. And
how creepy or cool were these tunnels? Because to me, like, once you're under, like, I live in the Midwest. There's no large water near me. Being underwater in a tunnel, I'm out.
Yeah, these were actually the deepest donuts that we've ever found on record.
Okay.
Wow.
That's awesome. They're really long, and they're actually lit like that all the time.
Okay.
Wait, that's just how, if you just go on like a tourist trip, that's what it looks like?
Yes.
That's kind of awesome.
Yes.
The tunnels in New York City don't look like that.
Right. And it's really cool. We definitely, the project is not one of those that went off without a hitch. I had a little run in with a K-rail on shot number two.
Oh
Oops.
no.
Yeah.
Oops.
And so our production went from 5 days to 2 actual driving days. We have a behind the scenes video that'll be coming out probably in a few weeks. We also have another smaller edit coming out with it's called the Unbridled edit, which Monster will be hosting soon. But
Okay.
That's
yeah,
one of the modes on the Machi, right? Or is that on the Bronco?
no, Machi.
That's Machi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Can't keep them straight. They both have the horse related. You know?
yeah, so they have there's Whisper, which is like the most eco mode. It's very just everything's quiet. And then the middle mode, I should know this, but I don't. But the mode that I drive in all the time is Unbridled, and that's like
Okay.
full acceleration. It's got a little bit of sound that comes into it, and yeah, it's a really cool experience. And speaking of sound, this car, when you watch the video, you'll hear the engines, but you'll hear an undertone. It kind of sounds like a jet, but that's actually a sound that we developed with T-Pain. So
Really?
that car,
That's not what I was expecting.
yeah, T-Pain's a friend of mine. He's an RTR owner and a drifter, and so I
Oh,
partnered
wow.
with him and Harmon. We have military speakers under the front and back of the car because I was like, well, we're building this car. I'm going to be on the track with V8s. Like, I want to be heard. These speakers are weapons. They literally disperse crowds. They project 1.5 miles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so we have one on the front, one on the rear, and it's controlled by a software or hardware software system that Harmon makes. It's in a lot of, it's in some of the production vehicles that Ford has. And so that was a really cool experience, like tuning that and calibrating that, how it like pitches and changes based on speed.
That's wild.
But-
How'd you guys go ahead?
I was just saying, for me, like that driving experience, a lot of people talk about that electric vehicles. Well, it doesn't make sound. Well, it does make sound. It's different sounds. It's a different experience, but it's not a V8. But I also like the idea of being able to have different experiences in electric vehicles, right? Like our brain doesn't know. People play video games all the time, like whether it's real or fake, like it's all about the holistic experience. And so that was a way to demonstrate that concept as well.
I got a bunch of questions. How did you charge on set? What was the protocol for that?
We had a generator that we carried around on set with us.
Okay.
And that car can fully charge in about 45 minutes.
Okay.
That's not terrible.
So, enough time to change tires.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And drive cycle, I like to give my guys a little more credit. They're probably about 40 minutes on the tire change. No, just
Okay.
kidding. But
If one's got it down to 2.5 seconds, they need 40
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. 1.9 for Red Bull.
So we, while we're charging, obviously doing maintenance, brake, it worked fine. The biggest thing really, the charge isn't really the issue. The bigger thing is the heat. With energy comes heat. And
Right,
so,
and with
as we're commanding, so much heat or so much power, right, with this high discharge command of 1,400 horsepower to annihilate 2 or 4 tires at a moment's notice, the heat is really what we have to keep an eye on. And so, and that'll get better as technology evolves. But with this type of power, you look at a 1,400 horsepower race car and it's got a massive water pump and a huge cooler, so unfortunately you can't right now carry enough water or coolant in the vehicle to cool down the massive battery pack in it. So
right. Yeah, I don't think people realize that hybrids and electric vehicles have coolant and have cooling systems. I think they just envision it as the standalone like electric motor and a battery, and it puts power out. And that's it.
And
right.
Little more complex than that.
I just don't think we've presented that correctly. Like all of our cell phones get hot when we use them. It's battery powered, guys. Like it's that
energy's got to go somewhere.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. And so we have to cool the motors and the inverters and the batteries. We cool during charging. So we have an actual cooling cart in development, and the battery was designed to pump fluid through it, and that cooling cart will be done soon. But for now, we really use just a very archaic way of cooling and had massive commercial outdoor air conditioning units that we just flow through the battery while we're cooling in it, and it does work. So
if you had, say, an electric Bronco that you ran in hammers, would range or heat be the problem first?
Well, so that's the thing with electric vehicles is you build them for the cycle, like what you want to do with them. So say hypothetically for a vehicle at hammers, you would build it so that it was the battery, and then you would have a you would maybe use a little bit different battery technology. So this car was battery technology with the highest discharge rate, the most power right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas hammers, we would compromise on that to get a little bit more longevity of heat. And if you're not discharging so fast, so maybe my 0 to 60 wouldn't be 1.9 seconds, but I'd have no problem getting up to 110 and keep that momentum through the desert, So you would just use different chemistries in that aspect. So to answer your question, it would be range that you would be focused on for hammers. And so, yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, hammers would present some opportunities for some regen at some point because it's uphill and downhill.
Totally. Yep. You would be able to get regen. You could also maybe create a little bit of regen, maybe a little bit of drag on a wheel or two in the front. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways to get regen opportunities. So, but yeah, I mean, you start thinking about this.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting.
Rabbit hole, right? It's so fun and new,
So we talked to Emmy Hall when she did the Rebel Rally. They did it in that Rivian pickup truck. And when they were testing beforehand, they were like, hey, if we're in a tight spot, can we at least get someone to flat tow us, turn on the regen, and see how much charge they got? It was not a lot, but they added like 7 miles. And I don't know how long they had it.
Yeah, it was enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's exactly. Nice. You just got to have some guy just tow you for a bit and add some range.
Yeah. And hey, the regen is strong braking. It's fully adjustable in the Mach-E, and it's extremely it will, right, yeah. It will throw you if you have it set to throw you, especially 7 motors. It's gnar. And so on road type stuff, and you can really, even for off road, you can tune it however you want, to help you with braking, and it's fascinating.
I love the electric stuff.
If you can't feel me right now, I'm so hooked and excited, and to be, for my company, for RTR to be trusted by Ford for such a project, and it's not something I take lightly. This was their first big electric project, and they chose us to do it. So it's a real honor. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm very passionate about just in general keeping people excited about driving. It's been such a big part of my life, and it really pains my heart to hear people being like, oh, electric's the end of the world, and it's not. And we're also going to have the choice. There's no time soon. True. I see that we're not going to be able to burn some wonderful smelling VP race fuel, or go get some gas and have an internal.
Ain't that the truth?
Engine.
Exactly. It might not always be brand new from the factory, but nothing's been written legislatively on classic stuff, which could be anything old at that
True.
point.
Right.
It's true. So, all right. So we've talked quite a bit about the future. I want to dip into past projects a little bit. So contrary to the Mach-E production, the Ford Raptor on the Nurburgring, that one still comes up as one of those crazy things that nobody expected. What was that like, and why? I guess.
Yeah, well, let me tell you why. First of all, so we went there. I went to the Nurburgring for the first time in 2011, and I was like, I have to come back and drift this. And so 2018, I finally figured out a way, thank you to awesome partners like Ford and Monster and Pennzoil, who helped me get there. And the only time we could get the Nurburgring was in November. For those of you that know the Nurburgring in November, maybe you're going to not get snow.
Say that
So we
it's
got
in the
there.
mountains, right? Like,
Yeah, and it's a really weird, like its own weather system. It's really weird.
huh.
And bottom line is we got there and it was foggy and it hailed and it rained and it sleeted. And I was like, I'm not doing this project in the rain in my Mustang. And so we're like, okay, well, how do we salvage this? Because the Nurburgring wasn't the only way you get a refund on the Nurburgring, which of course isn't cheap when you rent the whole thing, is there's ice or there's fog, but if it's raining, they don't care.
Okay.
So randomly, so Ford was there, and I'm like, what can we do? I was like, is there a Raptor? Is there a Raptor here? Like, and so they found, I was like, let's just go have some fun with a Raptor on the ring. And the original thing was like, oh, we're gonna go through the grass and do this. And they were like, yeah, no, you're not. So
I would say they charge.
I was like, fine, I'm just gonna drift the Nurburgring with a Raptor. So we basically took the locking mechanism off the foot handbrake, sorry, the foot parking brake, right? Mm-hmm. So that I could just push it and lock it.
Just kick it.
And I put it in, we disabled the traction control. We put the rear locker on and sent it on the ring. And it was absolutely every bit of what you see absurd, that much behind the wheel. It was scary. It was thrilling. And it was the only Raptor in Germany. It was owned by a Ford dealer, his personal vehicle, and he let me borrow it. Thank you very much. And that happened. God. And then the next year, I was able to come back again, rented the ring in July, and that's when I got to drift it with my Mustang, which to this day is in the top 3 coolest things I've ever done in my life.
Dude, it's so good.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I think from a spectacle standpoint, the Raptor just had like this kind of hilarity to it. There's something about vehicles, and this is such a big thing now with like lemons and whatever that off-road rally is, where it's like doing things with vehicles that you or any of those. It's like doing things with a car, truck, Gambler. That's what it is. Yeah, something you shouldn't do with a vehicle. Doing that, and seeing the Mustang on the ring was obviously awesome, but seeing the Raptor go sideways around the ring was like a recalibrate your brain for a few seconds kind of thing.
It's the only way I play Forza. I just get the biggest thing I can find and drive across everything.
Yeah. There's other ways to play.
My Bronco is in Forza 5, Forza Horizon 5. Rocky is in there. So go rip it up.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that. I was writing a review of Horizon and I saw that. It's like,
my 10-year-old keeps hammering on me. He's like, when are we getting it? I was like, oh, when we get it.
Yeah. Good luck getting the controller.
I still haven't been able to finish 4. He played all of it. Like, I'm behind.
Have you played Horizon with your Bronco and been able to say like, yes, this is, I mean, obviously it's a video game and you're using a controller, but like dynamically, is it kind of there?
So I have not been able to play Forza Horizon 5, and I am embarrassed by it because I love Forza, but it's just come out right around SEMA time, and I just have not stopped. So
that's fair.
My plan is to do it as soon as possible. I literally have it loaded. I just haven't been able to spend any time on it. And for me, like I don't want to be rushed. Like, it's crazy to me that my cars are in video games. I have Hot Wheels, and RC cars of our creations. And to me, that's crazy. And like, I want to give them the proper time and really embellish that moment of the experience. So I can't say that, that I have.
That's fair. No, I can respect that.
Yeah.
So speaking of projects and such, what's your favorite build you've done on street, on off-road?
Man, well, I think one of my favorite and probably one of the most famous, without a doubt, is Ken Block's Unicorn RTR. Ken came after we built the RTRX. Ken came to me with his concept of building an all-wheel drive Mustang, and then we collaborate on design, and we built it at our the RTR lab, which was just amazing, and the things he's continued to do with it, it just makes me so proud.
The videos this week alone were absolutely wild.
I love his daughter in it now. Like it
oh my
still
God.
rips. Like
That thing is freaking fast. Like
and it's awesome. I literally just texted me. He just texted me back while we're talking. I told him how cool it is what he's doing with Leah, and I got the opportunity to spend some time. I've known her since she was a baby, and I went out and taught her how to drift her Fox body a while ago, and she's just been really taken to driving, and she's going to be a freaking killer, and she's going to do really, really well. And so this is one of our creations. The Machi 1400, without a doubt, is up there. And then I would say I really love, now toning it down from like the crazy absurd things. I really love our Spec 5 Mustang RTRs. They drive and handle so well. They got 750 horsepower with a warranty. They're just fun.
That's crazy.
And and I expect that after final sign off with the Fun Runner, that's going to be on the list, the Bronco Fun Runner. So,
are you looking forward to some Bronco R projects?
I am. I certainly am.
DR Ross, Bronco DR.
Yeah, the DR. Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any
Fair enough.
current plans, but I think they're doing some really cool stuff with that truck. I think it's amazing that you can buy a turnkey race truck like that. And how many people will race it? But mid 200s to buy a turnkey truck that's gone through the types of things that Ford goes through before they sell anything. Just the amount of fun you'll be able to have with that thing, is awesome. And so I'm excited to experience it. I haven't driven it yet.
Does it fit into more, like, is that going to create like a spec racing series out of all? Like, how does that fit into the categories, I guess?
Yeah. Ford's working with some of the sanctioning bodies to get a place for it to where it works. I mean, I think it already works in like the stockish class.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the class that it goes, but there is sanctioning bodies, and it's going to have a class that it can race in. I think it's already done. I just don't know the lingo. But that thing's got a 5-liter Coyote in it, which are freaking bulletproof. I have done unbelievable things with these motors, and they just work. And I think, there's a lot of people that still don't understand the excitement and power and torque of an EcoBoost that really demand a V8. And so there they have it now. But it's really cool. And Ford isn't just going to put some junk out. It's going to be a fun, functional vehicle. And I'm excited. Who's doing that? Who else has turnkey desert race trucks that you can buy from the factory? Nobody. So Multimatic knows what they're doing, right? They built the Ford GT. Larry Holt is an amazing brain and even a cooler, fun person. So, there's going to be some new things that are going to be integrated into that truck that haven't been in off-road. So I'm excited about, I love seeing people's brains at work, and especially when there's different perspectives and new things that are being tried. So it's cool.
I just love the whole search result. So I decided to put that up.
Perfect. It's a beautiful truck. Paul Wraith, who is the lead Bronco designer, he's very involved in this. We actually work with him, on the design. He and our designer Lindsay are like super close, and they collaborate on our vehicles and things. So it's really cool. Really cool things going on around Ford, that's for sure.
What would your ultimate money no option build be?
This is a guy who has a 4400 race truck already.
This is
I'm really the wrong guy right now, and I say that with very humbled and grateful. I don't have that answer, man. I've jaded myself and really been somebody that has chased and achieved, the vehicle builds and things that I want. I do want to continue new things in the electric space. Testing, off-road vehicles in electric is an exciting thing to me. I definitely still kind of have a want of like a modern all-wheel drive and or rear-wheel drive Mustang that is just absolutely absurd. I have visions of like this crazy rally style Mustang that would be fun, low center of gravity, but has some wheel travel.
Yeah.
And
That'd be rad.
So yeah, I've got a few ideas and tucked in the back here, but I don't have the one.
Okay. No, I mean, that sounds like the ideal, like electric motors up front in a Mustang with 700 horsepower or something going to the back. That's and a couple inches of suspension travel. That wouldn't be a bad time.
Right.
I kind of see you went different than that because I was like, just safari it a little bit. That's your rally car. Let's watch somebody else chase Travis through the woods. Like,
right.
Yeah, that would be a
completely different noise than any other rally I've ever attended.
I had to bring you guys in on the brainstorm sessions here at RTR.
This is what we do.
I can think of a ton of awful ideas. One of them will be good.
Yeah, something will stick. Oh man, what happened to the RTRX car? Is that still kicking around?
Yeah, I still have it. It's right literally downstairs from me. I'm sitting in my office. Yeah, it's kicking around. I did a project this year with Joey Logano, where we went drifting. He has a 32 Ford Factory 5 truck. I think it's a 32, maybe 35. Mm-hmm. And we went to Moonshine town, Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
Yep.
And we went, they let us have free reign up the mountain. We were drifting up the mountain. And then we ended up at Wilkesboro Speedway, did some drifting there. And yeah, that car is still around. I mean, I debuted that car in 2011 at SEMA. It's been in multiple video games, RC cars, Legos, toy models. Like it's out there, and it's one of those cars like I've thought about, getting rid of, but it's just one I can't. I just can't. I can't part with it. And that was the bigger, older brother to the Unicorn.
That seems like the one that really like kicked things off for you guys.
It really was, and it's one of those. The first time I really got to really put like my passion and like that. If you asked me in 2011, that question you asked me, what is my dream? Like that was it. And
that's a good one.
That really did. That put RTR pretty heavily on the map. And it's a special car for me for sure.
Yeah, that thing still looks great 10 years on.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, during that shoot, Joey, well, it's not Joey's fault, but like that speedway had shit all over it. I had rocks, and so I got chips. The whole front of the car's chipped.
Oh no!
The doors, the doors got a big gouge on it from a rock. But I'm like, it's character. Like I've had this thing for 10 years, and I've driven it, and that's what it is. It's a story. Hey, what happened to your car? Well, we opened up Wilkesboro Speedway, and Joey Logano shot stuff all over it with his Factory 5 Ford pickup truck. So it is what it is.
Well, that's also like it's not 100% a race car, but like race cars that they leave all of the stuff after the race on when they put them on display. Like that's the car's living a life now. Like we got to leave it. Like
right.
Yeah, I'm not a 30s Ford guy, but that's kind of cool. Like I'm not a hot rod guy by any means.
It's super cool. This has a FR9 NASCAR motor in it. So this Roush Yates built FR9, same motor, Joey won his championship in. It's right there in that truck. And it
says
9,000 RPM all day.
That's insane. Was he able to pick up going sideways right away? Because I know a lot of the NASCAR guys have done dirt track, and that's keeping a car sideways.
Let me tell you something about Joey Logano. That man is a freaking wheel man. He is a driver, and he is one of the most competitive people I've ever met in my life. I consider him a great friend. We've done a lot of cool things together. Chelsea DeNova, my teammate, and I did some training with him. He picked it up right away. The next week, he's sending a NASCAR show car he has to my shop so my guys can add steering angle. The next, another time, he and I went out and, he drifted his NASCAR. The debut of the Mustang NASCAR video was me and him at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I pull up behind him, Daytona, Days of Thunder, mean mug him, like kind of bump the bumper. And then we get into this like drift. We're drifting through Charlotte Motor Speedway together. And so, yeah, he picked it up unbelievably fast. And I've watched, no disrespect to other NASCAR drivers, but I've watched a lot of them try drifting and they just can't get it. And Joey just picked it up. Yeah, that's the video I was talking about. You're really good at this.
Thank you.
100 episodes on.
Like taking me down, like I'm sharing my life and you're just putting it in pictures. Like I really appreciate it.
Well, the scary part is like all I'm doing is Google searches. So like that's the weird part is like it's out there.
Yeah, and so this car, we actually this was the first Mustang NASCAR debut. So we did Lindsay designed the livery on this, and it's got RTR wheels on it, and a bunch of steering angle, and he was ripping it, and he's really good. I honestly, when we did that shoot in Wilkesboro, I was scared because some of the roads we were doing it on were sketchy. And I was really nervous for Joey. And we went out to do our recon lap. And I'm like checking the turns out, like, being a halfway responsible human. And Joey's just, rah, rah, like in the hill, never even saw it. And oh man, he's a blast and he absolutely kills it. So
that's a good time.
Dude, that's so great.
He grew up like 30 miles from me. How he ended up doing that is, he's from Connecticut.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he actually just went back and like repaved his hometown track or something. I saw.
Really?
Into that.
Yeah, he's a good dude like that. And he's got a foundation. In fact, right now we have a program running with Amaze where you can donate to win Machi GT.
Oh.
And all the I can't say all, but the proceeds, go to his foundation. So it's pretty cool. It's a Machi GT. It's got a RTR forged Machi or wheels that we have coming out for Machi on it. Pretty cool car.
Oh wow, had no idea.
Yeah,
that's not a bad looking thing either. Those wheels really change the stance of it. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. Is there a still photo if you click left and right of that?
There we go.
Yeah. So that's like our graphics package, RTR graphics package, and then those are our wheels. That we have for Machi. They'll be coming out next first quarter 22.
It's a great red too.
Yeah,
it's really deep. Yeah, it reminds me of the red that came on the Ford GT. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's very similar.
I think 90% of them that I've seen are that color, so it must be good.
Of the Machis?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a guy. I was at Holly Ford Fest, which, by the way, if you guys have never been to that event or you ever can. It's in Kentucky at Beach Bend Speedway. They just also have an off-road area last year for the first time. But an owner of a Machi GT came up to me and he was doing autocross and he was killing it. Like he was slaying cars with it. And he's like, "Will you try to drift my Machi GT?" And I'm like, "Yes." So I jump in it, take it on the drift course and started, throwing it around. And that was the first time I experienced a GT, and the power and the torque and everything of it is just absolutely nuts. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we do when we're at events like Grid Life and
Casual.
That's Cletus McFarlane in the Fun Haver Fox, and then that's me, and that's Loren and Brocky jumping over us.
That's a little bit of air.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, and it right to flat too.
Oh my God.
Too flat.
So you started talking about those seats. Can we go back to the seats?
Yeah. So when I got into off-road racing, the first truck I drove had suspension seats, and very quickly,
cushy ones.
Yeah, the ones that, well, basically, it's what you think you need for off-road, but it's basically the worst, right? Your belts are constantly coming loose, you're moving, and whenever you get a big hit, all of that spring that absorbs you rebounds back through your back. So I realized very quickly, well, that's not good. So then I went to a a hard shell seat by one of the brands that, markets in the off-road space. And I very quickly realized that the seating technology in off-road had just not been developed with complete safety in mind, like containment in mind, maybe, but safety, like people didn't do the right research. And so I started talking to some experts and did some, some development or basically some testing and understanding of how things work, and basically realized that, a lot of these companies have a lot of foam, but when you get a hit and you start blowing through all this foam, you're actually accelerating until you ultimately bottom out. And sorry about your headphones, guys.
No, we're good.
You ultimately bottom out. And so that is why, you're hearing of people breaking their back with hard shells. First of all, I'm not going to name seat name brands, but a little soft cushion, this soft that you can just push you in an impact and a G out, or, a place where your air bumps are coming in, you're going right to the hard shell. And after your butt touches the hard shell, your back's broke, or whatever breaks. And so I reached out to Recaro, who I've worked with for a long time, and they are just the next level when it comes to seating, and got their attention to this opportunity and honestly just a safety concern. And so I found a technology that absorbs energy very well that they had never seen. And so, so basically took that to them, and we developed a seat for off-road using their proven, FIA or proper buckets, and integrated this technology. So now, not only does it save your back, but the other thing that people don't realize on off-road is, like, you're racing for a long time and you get fatigued. And when you get fatigued and you start like crunching in and you're holding a wheel, like when you get that hit and your back is not supported, you're supported in back and you have your lumbar support, that's when you're strong. But when you're like this, that's when things happen, you get hurt, you get fatigued. And so we basically developed a seat called the Pro Racer ORV that basically allows you, it basically fixed everything that I saw problems in seats. And I have an unfortunate back-to-back comparison in which my co-driver, so I had the prototype of this seat, and I wasn't comfortable putting my co-driver in a prototype. I was comfortable putting myself in it because I saw the testing, I believed in it, I was obviously involved, but I didn't want him to do it. So he was in the other seat I mentioned, and we hit a pretty bad G out at Hammers. And on impact, he broke his back.
Oh, crap.
I was absolutely fine. And from that moment, I mean, that was literally like the sign off,
Yeah, seriously.
While it was very unfortunate for him, and obviously it sucks, but like the light at the end was like, we learned that, right? And our theory of is just a perfect back-to-back comparison that you could never ever get. And again, it's a bad thing, but I'm a rosy red glasses kind of guy, and that's the light at the end of the tunnel for from my perspective of a pretty crappy situation. And I literally, we waited, and he was yelling, he's telling me, he's like, just go, leave me, give me the tracker and leave me, like, you got to finish the race. I'm like, no. It was like a shock moment. We were both freaking out. Like, it was a big hit.
Yeah.
And helicopter came, picked him up, and he's like, you go finish the race. So I like tried to finish the race, and I got the remote pit and like kind of came to from the days, and like trucks overheating, like water spraying everywhere.
No.
You're not finishing the race, Vaughn.
Yeah.
So that happened, but it's a game changer. And for all the off-road people out there, like, I just, I don't want to sound like a wimp, but safety, things happen fast out there, and super fast in those terrains. And I'm just really proud to be able to have brought something to market like that. And it feels good to bring, give something back to the community at that level.
That's I mean, I've spent a lot of time in side by sides and UTVs, and the majority of the seats are absolutely terrible. So would be, very interested to see something like that make its way into the side by side world, because those guys that are racing those things they're using either hard shells or something that has no real safety to it. But
yeah, and with different things, you can't just reuse it, right? I mean, a lot of these seats are for road racing, and as road racing, if you're getting off the ground or G'ing out, like that's a very rare occasion. But like rally, off road, Scott Speed recently broke his back in the same situation. Well, I don't want to say his back, but he broke something in his body.
For something you don't want to break.
Yeah, from bottoming out in his seat, and he now has that seat, our seats in it, and so I just people skimp on safety, and there is some great conversations now going on with people like Ford and other UTV manufacturers about getting this technology in their seats as a as just a safety measure, and it just makes sense. It's almost, in my opinion, irresponsible of some of these seat manufacturers to market and sell seats aimed at off-road without properly developing and understanding how this stuff works.
Yeah, I definitely see that, and it's a different angle of the irresponsibility of what everybody talks about, like with the Hellcats, like, oh, you could just walk into a dealer and buy that. But like, if you're not safe and you're not comfortable, your chance of things going wrong or putting yourself or somebody else in jeopardy are even higher. So it's good to see development on that side of things. So I know we're pushing on time a little bit here.
Dude,
last question.
Hold on real fast. I just love that we're all of a similar age, that we all just went to stretch after we've been talking about backs.
Well, yeah, we're talking about smashing our backs, and we're all
like this dumb office chair.
I know. I saw one of those comments on that video was like, my neck hurts watching this. And I was like, a day's worth of wearing a helmet at the end. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
But is there anything you haven't dabbled in that you want to? It seems like you've gotten a pretty extreme variety of driving and racing and playing. Is there anything left?
Yeah, that's a great question. Family time is really cool.
Yeah, it is.
No, that's definitely something I'm really and starting to enjoy a bit more now. But I'm a professional fun haver. I love challenging myself behind the wheel, and so I think Baja is something I haven't done yet. I mean, I've raced in those terrains, but never done that full, challenge of Baja. So that's something that's really interesting to me. Rally, is something that's interesting to me. I tell you, I'd really like to take my Ultra 4 truck and do a rally this year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like a gravel rally, like 100 Acre Woods.
100 Acre Woods,
that's in March.
Is it in March?
Yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah,
that would be.
I actually asked Ken about that, and it seems like the rallies are a little bit more serious than like my hope would be. Like I could just can't go up with a non-street legal vehicle and run a stage.
Well, like Toyota had a RAV4 in it, like Millen. It was
Ryan Millen.
Yeah, and I know I just saw like a Honda CHR that looked like it was rally prepped. Like, if they're getting crossovers in, like, why can't we run the 4400 class? Like,
if there's any ARA or rally guys that are listening to this and you want to reach out and let me know that I can bring my 4400 truck to one of your rallies, I'm in. If not, I might just have to find a rally stage I can run.
I know we can definitely. I know where we can tie you to. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have an email for you. Yes.
Okay. I would love that.
I texted him today, actually. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I told him I couldn't make it. So.
Well, remind him about April, and now we're doing that in April.
I will definitely, and I'm going to tell him that Vaughn has this idea. So.
Yeah.
That would be. Oh my God, that would be a collab for the ages.
Right.
Jesus.
If anything. If they don't let you in the actual race, I know a guy who's got land that has rally stages. So
And dogs.
Are you talking about Texas?
yes.
Texas Dave. Yep.
Yeah, we've been there.
Okay.
Yep, Dave. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I feel like Dave definitely knows somebody who we can get you.
Yeah, that's I didn't even think they're called Dave, or even I could call Bucky. I didn't think about that.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. They're on the same wavelength these days. So there you go. No, but when we had Larry Chen on, and he was talking about Baja, and it seems like, usually you hear something about a race or an event and it just one-ups what you expect of it. But every time you hear something about Baja, it just snowballs into like, they're chasing trucks from helicopters from like below the cliffs to get shots. It's just total madness.
Yeah.
So
Larry's
we got to
amazing.
make it down there too.
Traveled the world with Larry since like 2004, 2003, and it's so awesome to see his success and what he's been able to do, following his passion. I just love those. I love
And how chill he is, like always, like, and protected from the sun always. Like he gets it.
He really is.
Yep.
He's smart, man. Smart dude.
He's getting behind the wheel too.
Yeah, he just got a car to go drifting. He's been shooting us forever. It's funny, believe it or not. So another one of my friends from Race Services, Andy LaPuca, who actually was a executive producer of Faroe Islands, and he got a Mustang and no training, just jumped in it and started drifting. He's like, I've watched you guys, your in-car video for, he was our for years. And so he just
like,
jumped in and was like, yeah, this is how you do it. And I'm
there's
what?
some more to that, but okay, sure.
Yeah.
That's where we start.
It worked for him. Yeah.
I mean, if you get a skid pad long enough, I'm sure you can.
Yeah, or a snowy parking lot in the Northeast.
Yeah. Well, sweet. Which accounts do you want to plug? I have a lot of accounts.
My personal account at Vaugh Gittin Jr. At Funhaver and RTR Vehicles. Funhaver is a lifestyle brand around having fun and just the mindset. My mindset that the world just needs a bit more fun, and you guys are clearly fun havers, and if you guys would like some gear, I would love to send you guys some.
Okay.
But for me, it's just a very high vibe, all about having fun, no matter what it is, like whatever puts a smile on your face. And so I'd definitely love people to check that out. And I appreciate all the love, man. I've really enjoyed chatting with you guys, and hope to see you at an event at some point. Maybe we'll see you at Bronco Safari, or
definitely.
Moab at some point. We'll be there a couple times this year, and maybe we can, you can hop in or bring your rig.
That'd be great.
Oh, my rig is hilarious because I have 4 kids, so it's just a giant Suburban. It is not ready for anything.
Perfect. We got winches.
Exactly. Like I have Max Tracks. That's literally first step was buy Max Tracks.
I love it.
So the Suburban got air today.
Oh my god.
I got air in my Avalanche once upon a time. So that
have you camped in your Avalanche?
I got rid of the Avalanche, I think 8 years ago, but I should have kept it for that purpose, so you can just put your legs into the back.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like, I don't know why I just thought of camping when I heard that name. What was the deal with it? You can do what? What is it?
Well, it had that midgate that folded between the cab and the bed, so you could just like put your head into the cab and put your legs out into the bed.
Yeah.
But
that was my plan when to go see Texas Dave, was take the Suburban and drop the second row, and it was just kind of a sleeping platform. Like I was like, then kids get in the way, and just stuff. Anyway, all right, I'll have to show up. So you can rate and review this show on iTunes. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. They're all over the place. If you're listening audio lead and you found it, you can rate us on any of the things. It doesn't have to only be on iTunes.
Please do.
So Vaughn is at Vaugh Gittin Jr. on Instagram, and it's RTR Vehicles on Instagram. And I just followed the Funhaver account as well. I hadn't found that one yet. So
thank you.
It looked fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
You can read what we write on Hooniverse, UTV driver, ATV rider, everyday driver. I still got to get a better order for those. Like the drivers.
There's no good order.
Yeah.
There's no good order for it.
So Ross is not like the one from Friends, and I'm at Overlanding Dad. And we did it. That's the show. Thank you, Vaughn.
Yeah. Thanks, Vaughn.
Guys, appreciate it, man. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for joining us for the big 100 here. This was a lot of
Congrats
fun.
to you guys. Keep it up, and hopefully you guys get to hang out soon together.
Right? Maybe in 22.
This is the weirdest part, is like, he's the person I talk to the second most other than my spouse. We've never physically been in the same place.
Dude, same.
She's like, who are you texting? I was like, I'm texting Ross.
You guys are going to have the greatest man hug ever when you guys.
Definitely.
The funny part is going to be just like
100%.
the foot difference in height between.
Yeah, seriously.
It's not a full foot.
I'm short. So.